Let's jump to this from The Independent. Trump says he will take a look at deporting Musk as feud reaches new height. The world's richest person has been criticizing Trump's signature legislation as costing far too much. So a reporter asked Trump, will you deport Elon? He says, we'll take a look at it. Maybe we got to send Doge. Now, Trump has been saying this over and over again, that Elon is upset because the EV mandate's going away, despite the fact that Elon's been saying for like 5 years he hates the EV mandate. I agree with Elon Musk. In 2022, he said if the EV mandate was gone, our market position would significantly improve. And he's like, I will say that again. And he's right. I looked at electric cars. I looked at all the other companies. I will leave them unnamed. They are garbage compared to Teslas. And so that's why I ended up buying a Tesla. Elon's position is that because of the EV mandates, it allows these failing companies to be competitive. But if you were to get rid of that, Tesla would be the only game in town. So he wants to get rid of it. Trump is acting like he doesn't want to get rid of it and entertaining possibly deporting him because Elon says the big beautiful bill is the death knell for this country.
So I think that Elon's chief concern, of course, is the deficit. But I will say multiple sources in Congress told me that Elon called them directly and told them not to get rid of the EV subsidies.
Really?
Yeah. So I think maybe he was saying something different publicly than he was doing behind closed doors. But this response from Trump is classic Trump, right? Like if a reporter asks him a question about something and he hasn't really thought of it before, he always says, we'll take a look. We're going to look at it. So it's like the standard bearer answer.
Amber, very respectfully, I don't think Musk's chief concern is the deficit. I think Musk's chief concern is his bottom line, and I think that's always been the case. I think he was also never really MAGA. I think he was always just trying to appropriate the MAGA movement for his ends, and I thought that was always very, very clear. I think he has a ton of business interests that relate to to the government.
What are his ends?
Why bother with Doge then?
It was just a way to him to flex influence and cut different programs that he was or wasn't a fan of, and to exercise power within the government. But
what do you believe his ends are?
I think he has a lot of. I know he has a lot of government contracts, and actually, I think Steve Bannon.
What are his ends?
His business interests. He's trying to advance his business interests within the government.
Okay, but he could have spent $100 million on Trump's re-election campaign, and that would have been enough for him to keep his government contracts. Instead, he risked it all by doing Doge.
I think the Doge stuff was a goodie for him. I think he enjoyed spending time in the White House and orbiting around Trump and overstaying his welcome. And I agree with Steve Bannon when Bannon describes him as a fake MAGA and an oligarch trying to exert influence.
I agree he's not MAGA, but that doesn't mean he doesn't care about the deficit.
So I have a question.
I don't think that's his chief concern. I think he uses that to posture, just like Thomas Massey and Rand Paul do.
So my question is, if you had to choose, if you had to choose one to deport either Elon or Elaad, who would you choose? Let the record show that Amber has pointed at Elaad.
Well, I don't think it matters who Amber thinks. I think it matters who President Trump thinks.
He's big mad.
I think it matters who President Trump thinks.
It's all Trump.
How about you ask
all about
President Trump who he'd rather deport?
Trump's going to be like, who?
Exactly. Well, I think he's going to say Elon because.
I honestly think the only reason he said we'll take a look is because he doesn't know what they're talking about.
That's just his response to everything is we'll take a look at it. He said that
and
for a bunch of
all the time.
But it's the right response because let's say there's like Elon kicks a dog or something and then screams, I hate America. Trump doesn't know this. He hasn't seen the news. He doesn't know what's going on. The question he's getting asked is going to be referenced to something that he has not looked into.
He never rules anything out. Anytime a reporter says, "Will you rule out running for a third term?" I don't know. We'll have to take a look. Like that, it's what he says.
Just if I could trash Elon a little bit, I actually think he's not only fake MAGA, he's antithetical to MAGA because he supports mass H-1B visas continuing to flood into our country.
I agree with that. I don't think he's MAGA.
Completely not. And he tries to appropriate the facade of MAGA. So while Trump's trying to get rid of mass migration from happening in our country, I think Elon Musk and his business interests want to flood our country with more migrants. I think this stuff was inevitable.
What do you think about the gold card? Or the gold visa? What is it called? The gold card?
It was a good idea, but I don't think he was very serious about it or is going.
They're doing it. People have bought it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, if you're willing, I think we should have more rich people in our country.
Yes.
They contribute a disproportionate amount to their tax revenue, and we're
I think we should just get rid of all taxes on people who make more than $100,000 a year and only tax people who make under $100,000 at 100%.
I kind of think the reverse.
We call it the Bloomberg model. But in all seriousness, that was Bloomberg's actual proposal, not like literally taxing everybody, but Bloomberg's campaign proposal was tax the poor. Did you know that?
It was very regressive, yeah.
He said that poor people make bad decisions,
and that's why
so we should tax them and take away their money so that we can decide for them what they should have.
There was a study there was an article that I was reading that was a study that said the same thing, that a big part of the reason why people are poor is because they make bad decisions. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, life's hard and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, fair enough. You know, people can run into hard times and stuff. But if you consistently make bad decisions, you're going to end up in bad places with bad circumstances in your life. Well, they are among them. It
should be, you have to pay more taxes if you're a communist. So when you're filing your IRS form, like the first thing it should ask you is like name, date, address. Are you a communist? Yes or no? If you put yes, instantly increases your tax rate up to 50%.
Alligator Alcatraz and then deport. All communists.
All communists.
Alligator Alcatraz and then off to Cuba. Bounce them from Florida right over to the...
I would actually support funding a commune as long as I get to be the party, the chairman.
I mean...
Let's get all the leftists.
You're going to need to offer them a lot of goodies so they
can't leave. Elect? Are you joking?
No.
There will be 100 leftists will come to my commune and I'll get 3,000 votes every time. And there'll be big walls to keep them in for their safety.
Yes.
That's communism.
That was East Germany too.
Yeah, idea's so good. You got to force people at gunpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Anyway, I think Elon is correct about the deficit, but I don't know why he's so adamant about it right now, as if he just discovered we have a massive deficit. To be fair, we were talking about this, I can't remember if we're talking about this on Culture War or not, but when the debt to GDP ratio hits like 120-something, is like historically we see nations collapse and we're there. So that could be the concern.
That's true, but I also saw something, I'm looking right now, but I saw something today.
Yeah, we're at 123.
Japan's debt to GDP ratio is something like 200% or something like that. And they don't seem to be on the way out. Japan, yeah. They're
I disagree. Isn't their birth rate like 0.4?
Japan's debt to GDP ratio is 236.70% of the country's gross domestic product.
All right. So I looked it up. Between 90 and 120%, you have stagnation and inflation. Between 130 and 150, you have political instability, capital flight, and austerity. And then if it exceeds 200, it's typically where you see total collapse, like Zimbabwe and Venezuela.
Mm.
Interesting.
It's bad to be in this much debt, especially when you're the reserve currency of the world. Like, I mean, it does give us more leeway to borrow, but the rest of the world has to feel like we're a safe place to invest.
Japan's debt to GDP ratio is 260%.
Within
crazy.
Japan.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's it says right there. It's within Japan. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Not like that outside of the country.
Right.
It's like that. It's why it's 260.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Oof. Well, the end is nigh. It was nice knowing you guys.
Drag.
Don't
Hopefully,
forget.
You've got.
I think we did talk about Civil War last time I was here.
That tends to come up.
Yeah.
Especially in.
We don't have to do it today.
With the context of the way that politics is in the U.S. today. It's not a surprise.
Budget showdown 2029 U.S. debt clock. Debt to GDP will be 140%. Wow.
It's nuts.
Yeah, I feel like the immediate threat we face is the mass migration problem.
Yeah.
And Democrats pumping the census so they can steal the election.
Well, this is an important point because obviously all of these CBO projections about the bill don't take into account how much public assistance is being spent on illegal immigrants.
Right. Yeah, that's I was talking to someone today about the deficit because they were concerned about the bill, and I said the argument from the right that oppose the bill is that it's adding to the deficit, but the argument from the pro-Trump faction is that when you deport all these illegal immigrants, it's going to dramatically reduce spending. There's a lot of fraud, and then it should balance itself out.
You'll also have a higher housing supply. Wages will go up, which means more tax revenue collected by the government, possibly more inflation too. But
I mean, the demand for jobs will be skyrocketing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be able to negotiate for higher salaries and wages.
I think they also argued that it's reducing the amount that the deficit would increase. Was one of the taglines for the bill.
Yeah, the Tea Party said that too.
They were like, yeah, it's increasing the deficit, but by less
lower
than we were expecting to, and they're calling that reducing the deficit.
That's what Joe Biden said when the inflationary rate went down to 5% instead of 9%.
Yeah,
he was like, prices are rising slower.
Yeah. I do think that whatever we get from Trump is still better than what we would have gotten for Democrats. So
for sure.
What is there to complain about in the end, I guess?
Yeah.
I mean,
We're not getting a rainbow and Skittles and candy canes. What's going on?
It's the art of the possible.
I mean, if it was Kamala Harris, we'd still have all of the problems at the border. We'd still have all of the people that are illegal immigrants here in the country. I mean,
We'd still be paying for trans kids.
there'd be more of it.
Yeah.
There'd be more children.
National
being
mandate.
mutilated. Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.